Kevin Barry. We have made a lot of concessions and compromises. We really have done, I believe, everything in our power to make the fight a reality. I think Eddie Hearn has been really good. I think the negotiations between him and Doko Events director David Higgins have gone reasonably professionally. We have moments where we vent on social media, but that was all designed to raise Joseph Parker's profile. He was a little bit invisible in the UK, and now I think a lot more people are aware of who Joseph Parker is and what he looks like. They see the belt around his arm and the statements from him. Kevin Barry stated. So as you can see, Joseph Parker's trainer Kevin Barry is basically implying that this fight is going to be made. You know, for the past couple days, they've been saying that. Obviously, at first, it was like, I was hearing that Joseph Parker was going to face, Lucas Brown. But I'm glad but then, what's his name? Eddie Hearn and whatever, behind the scenes, they were talking about how they wanted to instead have Joshua versus Joseph Parker, the first fight of next year. Of course, I would rather see Joshua versus Joseph Parker. That's a unification fight. And it's way better than Joseph Parker versus, what's his name? Lucas Brown. Because Lucas Brown's past it. He's over the hill. And he hasn't fought in years. And Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua are in their prime. Now, Joseph Parker, to me, has seemed that he seems to, have been more confident ever since he saw the Carlos Takam fight, because before the Carlos Takam fight, he was always calling out everyone but Joshua. He was calling out, if you remember, Tony Bellew. He kept calling out Tony Bellew. He really wanted that Tony Bellew fight. And I remember in my original McGregor channel, I made a video saying, why does he keep calling out Tony Bellew? Ain't nobody wants to see him fight Tony Bellew. And he would say stuff like, oh, yeah, I'll fight Anthony Joshua, but, one day. But he was really, just talking about Tony Bellew. But it seems that ever since Joseph Parker saw that Carlos Takam was able to go, basically, he would have gone the distance, but was able to go 10 rounds. And he went into that fight basically on a 12-day notice, so he didn't have no sparring, he didn't have no preparation, and he was able to do that well. Well, he didn't do well because he lost every round, but he was able to at least, not get beat up. And you know what I'm saying? Last that long with Anthony Joshua, because he did get beat up. But so I guess Joseph Parker feels I'm better than Carlos Takam, and I will be able to, exploit his weaknesses. He's been saying stuff like he believes Anthony Joshua has a suspect chin. I also believe that, Joseph Parker. I believe Anthony Joshua has a more suspect chin than Joseph Parker. I've never seen Joseph Parker hurt. I've never seen Joseph Parker drop. I've seen Anthony Joshua hurt. I've seen Anthony Joshua drop. I've heard rumors of Anthony Joshua being dropped by several guys in sparring. Never heard that about Joseph Parker. So I agree with that when it comes to Joseph Parker. I think Anthony Joshua has suspect chin. But stylistically, Joseph Parker versus Anthony Joshua, stylistically, how do I think that fight goes? I've always said that I felt that Anthony Joshua beats Joseph Parker. Because I don't know, stylistically, I don't feel like Joseph Parker is the biggest puncher. Joseph Parker, when he was in the come up, he was knocking everybody out. It looked like he was going to be a big puncher. But then he started fighting guys that were actually ambitious and were trying to win the fight. And if you notice, his punching power decreased. I mean, he went the distance with Andy Ruiz. He went the distance with Carlos Takam. He went the distance with Hughie Fury. So, I mean, even that other guy, I forgot his name, that guy that he fought, that bum. But if you notice, ever since he's been fighting guys that are actually ambitious and are actually trying to win the fight, he hasn't been knocking them out. He's been going the distance. The fights have been going the distance. So that tells me Joseph Parker is a puncher, but he's not the biggest puncher. I mean, just to compare that to someone like Wilder or like Anthony Joshua. I know Wilder hasn't been fighting the best, but I have a feeling if Wilder were to fight the best, if he were to land that right hand, he would knock them out. I just always got the impression that Joseph Parker wasn't a bigger puncher than someone like Wilder or Anthony Joshua. And I feel like you need punching power to have Anthony Joshua respect you. I feel like that would be a tricky fight. I would imagine Anthony Joshua would be the aggressor and Joseph Parker would be on the back foot, because Joseph Parker, he had to be aggressive against Hughie Fury because Hughie Fury is a runner, so he had to be aggressive against him to cut the ring off against him. But against Anthony Joshua, that's not going to be the case because Anthony Joshua, he doesn't have to chase Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's going to be there. So I would imagine he's going to take the role of being the matador and trying to outbox Anthony Joshua. But he keeps saying stuff like, you know, he has a suspect chin. Joshua has a suspect chin. So maybe he's going to try and knock out Anthony Joshua. This is the heavyweight division. That could happen. I wouldn't count that out. But I just think stylistically it's a bad matchup because I guess it depends. It depends how good Anthony Joshua is at cutting off the ring. Because we really have never seen Anthony Joshua in there with a guy who's like mobily moving around the ring and outboxing guys, you know. So I'm curious to see how he does that. But then again, Klitschko wasn't standing in front of Vladimir. I mean, it's Vladimir Klitschko wasn't standing in front of Anthony Joshua. He was moving around. He was pivoting a bit. He was, you know, using his feet. So, and that gave Anthony Joshua problems a bit. So, maybe Joseph Parker has a plan to try to outbox Anthony Joshua. But the thing is, despite what happened in the UK and going to the judges, I would not be favoring Joseph Parker to win if it went to the judges. You know, Anthony Joshua's the cash cow, so I would think, unless like he convincingly whoops Anthony Joshua, but I would think if you're gonna beat Joshua, you have to knock him out. I would think in the UK, you have to knock him out. You think judges are gonna give they're gonna give it to Joseph Parker when in the UK over Anthony Joshua? Hell no. Joseph Parker will have to KO him. Again, I would think it'll be a kind of competitive fight, but I'll definitely lean towards AJ. I think he'll beat him. I think he'll spark him out. I just think he's a better fighter than Joseph Parker. I think Joseph Parker has a better chance against someone like Wilder because Wilder's more limited than someone like Anthony Joshua. If you take away Wilder's right hand, I think you have a good chance of beating him. Any heavyweight. Of course, you have to be careful. But yeah, that's just my opinion of it. I hope this fight happens. It'll be a unification fight. And then the next step will be Wilder, right? Next up will be Deontay Wilder versus AJ. Unless Wilder ducks AJ again. Or something happens. Maybe AJ ducks Wilder. We never know. So yeah, that's all I have to say, guys. I'm out.